While others played the game for glory, this man played it like war.
Hey, we're gonna be here all day, baby!
Every hit had purpose. Every tackle was personal. They called him Samurai, but that name barely touched the truth. But why? Because he wasn't just a linebacker. He was a force. And his story, from a quiet Texas home to the heart of the most feared defense in football, begins not with triumph, but tragedy. Meet the most violent linebacker of all time, Mike Singletary. Houston, 1958. The Singletary home sat beside a church his father built with his own hands. 10 children lived inside that small wood frame house. Faith filled the air, so did struggle. His father, Charles Singletary, was a street preacher. He worked construction by day and preached the word by night. His wife, Rudell, held the family together the best she could. But life under that roof wasn't peaceful. It was strict, heavy, demanding, and then it broke. One night, a strange smell filled the house. By morning, Dale, one of Mike's older brothers, was dead. The coal stove had leaked fumes while he slept. By the time the window was shattered, it was too late. Death arrived quietly, and it stayed. Mike was just a boy, but that night carved something into him, a sense that life could vanish without warning, that you either fight or fade. His father drifted after that. The sermons grew shorter, the house quieter, and a new voice stepped in, the brother who taught him war. Grady Singletary wasn't just a brother, it was a compass. He saw what Mike was becoming, a restless boy chasing purpose. Grady kept him straight, told him to stay away from smoke and drink, told him that strength wasn't what you showed, it was what you held inside. On Sundays, they watched the Dallas Cowboys together. Mike memorized the names: Roger Staubach, Bob Lilly, Leroy Jordan, heroes in white and blue, giants of discipline and control. And then Grady died in a 6-car pileup. A drunk driver walked away without a scratch. That night broke something again. The second death in a young life already marked by loss. 2 brothers gone, 2 examples erased. Mike didn't cry long. Built armor. He built focus. He turned pain into energy, the kind that never cooled. At Worthing High School in Houston, Mike Singletary began his transformation. He wasn't the biggest, not the fastest, but there was something about the way he hit. Coaches said it sounded different, collision like thunder, not noise. By 9th grade, he was already all-state as a guard and linebacker. And while his classmates drifted between dreams, Mike locked on to one thing: domination. His mother, Rudell, showed up at every game, cheering from the stands. Grades almost got in the way. He was close to losing eligibility, but she pushed, he listened, and he rose again. When Baylor University called with a scholarship, it wasn't just a chance, it was escape. Out of that small house, out of grief, into something bigger. Waco, Texas, Baylor University. This was where Mike Singletary stopped being a boy and became a weapon. He was 6 feet tall, 230 pounds, but he moved like a man twice his size. Every practice was violence rehearsed. He didn't play football, he dissected it. In 1978, he made 232 tackles, a school record. 35 in one game against the University of Houston. 31 against Ohio State. He didn't just hit opponents, he stalked them. Teammates said he studied film like a surgeon studies anatomy. No detail missed, no motion wasted. He averaged 15 tackles a game and earned All-American honors twice. And while the rest of the Southwest Conference feared him, his coaches knew something deeper. He was powered by ghosts. He won the Davy O'Brien Memorial Trophy twice, back when it wasn't a quarterback award but a prize for the best player in the Southwest. 4 years, 662 tackles, numbers that didn't just lead Baylor, they redefined it. In 1980, Baylor won 10 games, first in school history. At the center of it all stood a linebacker with eyes that never blinked. Then came the draft that changed Chicago. 1981, the NFL Draft. In the second round, the Chicago Bears made a choice that would alter their franchise forever. Pick number 38, Mike Singletary, linebacker, Baylor University. He arrived in Chicago quiet, polite, almost shy. No one expected the storm he was about to unleash.
Mike, I don't want to hear it. The Bears just drafted you.
Did it matter to you at all, really, going in, who you'd be playing for?
Don't think I'm just another guy. I'm not. I'm going to be special.
By the 8th game of his rookie season, he was a starter. and in just his third game against the Kansas City Chiefs, he exploded. 10 tackles, a forced fumble, total control of the field. By season's end, he was nearly unanimous All-Rookie. From that point on, the Bears' defense had a new heart, and it beat in the middle behind a pair of glaring eyes that never looked away. Chicago would always love defense, but what Singletary built with Buddy Ryan's 4-6 defense was something else, something closer to organized chaos. They called it the Monsters of the Midway, and he was their general, a system designed to crush quarterbacks before they could think, to leave running backs wondering which direction was safe. The 4-6 freed Singletary, unblocked on almost every play, a human missile. In 1985, it reached perfection. 15 wins, 1 loss, a season where every opponent knew what was coming and still couldn't stop it. That year, he recorded 109 solo tackles, 3 sacks, 3 fumble recoveries, and 10 passes defended. He was named NFL Defensive Player of the Year, but stats didn't tell the story. Fear did. Offenses watched tape and froze. They saw those eyes, wide, unblinking, scanning the backfield, and they knew the moment the ball moved, he'd be there. January 1986, the playoffs. The Bears faced the New York Giants first. Singletary recovered a fumble in the opening quarter, then sacked Phil Simms when the game was still close. 21-0 shutout. Then came the Los Angeles Rams for the NFC Championship. The night before, Coach Mike Ditka spoke to the offense in one room. Next door, Singletary was with the defense. At first, his voice was calm, controlled. Then the walls shook. Chairs flew. Samurai Mike was roaring about discipline, fire, and pain. By the time he finished, the team wasn't just motivated, they were possessed. The next day, he stopped Eric Dickerson cold on 3rd and short, setting the tone for another shutout. The Bears were going to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 20, Chicago Bears versus New England Patriots. It wasn't a game, it was an execution. From the first quarter, Singletary dismantled the Patriots' offense. He broke up a touchdown pass, flattened running back Craig James again and again, and recovered 2 fumbles, tying a Super Bowl record. Final score, 46-10. When it was over, he didn't celebrate much. Just stared at the field, hands on his knees, eyes still wide. Because that was the thing about Mike Singletary. Even at the top, he never stopped looking for the next hit. That night sealed his legacy. The Bears became legends. Man at the center became myth. Across 12 seasons, Mike Singletary missed only 2 games. He started 172, the second most in Chicago Bears history. He led the team in tackles nearly every year. 1,488 in total, 885 solo. 10 Pro Bowls, 8 All-Pro selections, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year 1985 and 1988. But numbers weren't what made him terrifying. It was intensity, the kind that didn't fade when the whistle blew. His stare, eyes bulging, laser focus, became his signature. They called it the Singletary eyes. Behind them was calculation, control, a fury held in check until the snap. Teammates said it felt like playing beside a storm that never moved off the field. The Chicago Bears of the mid-'80s weren't just dominant, they were unruly, big personalities, bigger egos. But Singletary kept the defense disciplined. He studied film late into the night, charting offenses by hand. He wasn't chasing fame, he was chasing perfection. Buddy Ryan, the architect of the 4-6 defense, trusted him completely. He was the link between coach and chaos. Every time the huddle formed, Singletary didn't just call plays, he commanded belief. By the early 1990s, the hits began to slow. The body that had carried so much weight for so long began to give. In 1990, against the Denver Broncos, he delivered one last masterpiece. 10 solo tackles, 10 assists, a wall of pain that refused to bend. When he finally retired after the 1992 season, there was nothing left to prove. But he wasn't done with football, not yet. In 2002, his name began to circle back through Texas. Baylor University, his old home, his old battlefield, needed a head coach. Alumni made calls. Even Mike Ditka and Dave McGinnis joined in, urging Baylor to give the legend a shot. But Baylor wanted experience, not history. They passed on him. Mike had no resume in coaching, no titles, no playbooks with his name on them. Just fire, just conviction. That wasn't enough. Not yet. 2003, the Baltimore Ravens were still haunted by defense, the kind Mike understood. They made him an offer, linebackers coach. He said yes. The field once echoed his name. Now he stood on its edge, watching others make the noise. Coaching wasn't combat, it was control, but the fire stayed. Players felt it the moment he walked in. The stare, the silence, the weight of expectation. Baltimore was his classroom now, learning how to lead without hitting, how to win with words instead of collisions. When defensive coordinator Mike Nolan left for San Francisco, he took Singletary with him. Assistant head coach, linebackers coach. Same mission, new city. Mike began building something deeper, not just a defense, but a voice. In 2007, Baylor called. His alma mater wanted him back as head coach. He refused. His son Matt had just started there. Timing was off. Maybe destiny wasn't ready. So he stayed in San Francisco, and soon the storm came to him. October 2008, the 49ers were collapsing. Nolan was fired. They needed order. They turned to the only man who understood discipline like religion, Mike Singletary, interim head coach. First game, Vernon Davis drew a penalty for arrogance. Mike sent him to the locker room mid-game. 10 minutes left, a statement louder than a scream. Afterward, he said he'd rather play with 10 men than tolerate one without heart. Then came the line that branded him forever: "I want winners."
It is more about them than it is about the team. Cannot play with them. Cannot win with them. Cannot coach with them. Can't do it. I want winners.
That same day at halftime, he dropped his pants mid-speech, a crude, unforgettable metaphor for how his team was playing. Pure Singletary. From 2-5, he finished 5-4. Respect returned. By December, he had the full-time job. 4 years, $10 million. 2009 began with hope. Wins over Arizona, Seattle, and St. Louis. The 49ers hit back, but losses came fast. Heartbreak, frustration, and fury. He apologized for losing his temper, but restraint wasn't in his DNA. He benched quarterbacks, reworked schemes, fought for control. The team finished 8-8, not champions, but reborn. Then came 2010. The fire burned too hot. 5 straight losses, a brief spark against the Raiders, then silence. By November, a 21-0 home shutout. December 26, another loss, another end. Fired. No shouting, no scene. Just the same calm walk, the same stare. The storm moved on. Minnesota came next. 3 seasons with the Vikings. No spotlight, just teaching. Helping young players chase the discipline that had defined him. When it ended, he stepped away, but peace never suited him. He resurfaced with the Rams in 2016, lending wisdom to old ally Jeff Fisher. The league had changed. Faster, softer, quieter. Mike never fit quiet. Then came the AAF in 2018, head coach of the Memphis Express. 8 games, 2 wins, the league folded, he kept going. That same year, he coached high school football in Texas. 1 win in 2 seasons. To him, it wasn't failure. It was purpose, to build men, not stats. By 2019, he stepped down. But the mission never ended. The fire just found new ground to burn. In 1995, Mike Singletary was inducted into the Texas Sports Hall of Fame. 3 years later, into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. By 1999, the Sporting News ranked him 56th among the 100 greatest players of all time. But to those who saw him play, the rankings meant little. They remembered the eyes, the fire, the man who made violence look like art. He wasn't built to entertain, he was built to dominate. And even decades later, the echo of his hits still lingers across the fields of Soldier Field. A reminder that once, for 12 seasons, a linebacker named Mike Singletary turned football into something primal. He called it discipline. Everyone else called it terror. Underneath the helmet, behind the stare, Mike Singletary had always been more than violence. He was a minister, an ordained preacher, a man of faith who still carried his father's lessons. To him, belief wasn't weakness, it was armor. He began speaking publicly, sharing the same conviction that once drove his players. Motivational speeches, sermons, lessons about leadership and endurance. He wrote, too, books like Calling the Shots, Singletary on Singletary, and Daddy's Home at Last. Each one echoing the same message: faith, family, and fire. Even when his football days faded, the purpose stayed the same: shape men, not just athletes. In 2022, long after his last whistle, he did something unexpected. He joined the cast of Beyond the Edge, a CBS reality survival show. It was physical, demanding, unforgiving. Of course he signed up. Because even at 63, Mike Singletary wasn't looking for comfort. He was looking for challenge. At home, the Warrior became a father. He and his wife Kim raised 7 children. His son Matt followed his path briefly, playing defensive end at Baylor before transferring to Cal Poly. Another nephew, Vance, became a linebackers coach, once even under Mike in San Francisco. The lineage continued. But for Mike, family wasn't about legacy. It was about presence. After years of absence, traveling, coaching, grinding, he made sure his kids knew who he was beyond the helmet. Faith at home, discipline on the field, the same 2 pillars that built him. Most great players fade after retirement. Mike Singletary refused to. He chased the same perfection that made him great, even when it turned against him. He coached the way he played, eyes locked, emotions raw, expectations unrelenting. Not every team could handle it, not every player could take it, but no one ever forgot it. Everywhere he went, the lesson stayed the same. Respect the game, respect yourself, win the right way. He demanded excellence, not comfort, and in doing so he became something rare in modern sports, a man who lived his message. Even now when he speaks, that stare remains. Eyes wide, focus unbroken. The look that once froze quarterbacks now holds audiences. Some see fire, others see faith. In truth, they're the same thing. Because for Mike Singletary, football was never just a game. It was a calling, a place where pain found purpose, where loss became legacy. And though his whistle may be silent, the echo of his message still cuts through locker rooms and meeting halls across the sport. A reminder that once there was a linebacker who became a legend, then tried to build others in his image. Not through fame, not through trophies, through conviction. Samurai Mike, player, coach, minister, father, the man who never blinked.